What's up, everybody? It's Stay Down Productions, and today we're here with Sina of Black Diamond Entertainment. How are you, Sina?
I'm doing well. I appreciate y'all for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So let's get right into it. Sina, where are you originally from?
Born and raised in Houston, Texas.
What part?
I've lived here a majority of my life. I lived in Austin for about 3 years when I went to school and college. But aside from that, I've been in Houston my whole life.
What part of Houston?
Central area. I grew up in the Memorial area. I would say central area, like the Gallery area, Memorial area.
From like kid up or?
Say it again.
Right from like your childhood?
Yeah. I grew up in, my father still lives in the house that I grew up in. I moved there when I was 5. I lived there for 15 years.
Where was you before the age of 5? Were you still in Houston?
Baytown. I actually was born in Baytown, but I moved to Houston maybe when I was like 2 or 3.
Do you think your life would have been like way different if you would have just stayed in Baytown?
Most definitely. Yeah, I don't think I would have gotten the exposure to anything that I'm involved in right now. I think it's it's like a little bit more country around that area.
It is.
It's more like the city. Did you become like more? Did the city kind of bring you in? And it's like the city life versus the country.
Yeah, I guess you could say so. I guess it's more so just like evolutionary in terms of like technology and everything, because the music industry wouldn't be what it is without technology. The growth of the music industry in general, the growth of entertainment, period, sports, anything, any of that wouldn't have been relevant without that.
So how did you get to where you're at now? Like, was it always music, like from your upbringing? Was you around a lot of artists? Did you grow up like in a...
Yeah, so growing up I played sports. Sports and music go hand in hand. A very good friend of mine growing up was Jay Prince's son. His name is Andre Prince. He actually put me on to the industry. I said that because I would see things from behind the scenes when I would go around his house at a young age, and I would see the celebrities and the respect that these prominent individuals would give his father, and I always idolized that. I wanted that power and that respect that his father had, and I feel like that played a big role, and that's the main reason why I even saw it as a reality, because I saw somebody close to me doing it. This is nothing about this is the norm. It's very it's very it's not. Somebody doesn't just wake up in the morning and say they want to start a record label. Somebody just doesn't wake up in the morning and say they want to start a blog, or a music blog, or entertainment blog, whatever the case is. Somebody just doesn't wake up and say they want to be a rapper. Somebody just doesn't want to wake up and say they want to be a producer. There's a lot that goes behind that. Big aspirations, big dreams, and I feel like just seeing that stuff from behind the scenes kind of helped put it in perspective. Like it was within reach. It's something that I could do, So.
And it was in reach.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because everybody's not even that lucky to be, blessed with that type of opportunity. Just standing in the same room as those type of people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really good.
Most definitely.
Did you get any direct advice from Jay Prince or the Prince family or anything like that?
Honestly, no. To be honest with you, everybody that I asked for advice told me not to do it. A lot of people, everybody in my family told me I was going to lose all my money. They told me it was a very ill-advised decision to do anything in the music industry, especially from an executive standpoint. I'm not the one that's providing the talent. I'm looking for talent and trying to help them. I'm trying to uplift their career. So saying all that to say, I kind of went with my gut instinct, and this is something that I personally believed in. I I have a passion for it. It's something that I really wanted for myself, and I wanted for the people around me. It was everything was a vision, and it was manifested to its finest and to the fullest. After I was able to get all the artists to buy in, it essentially became a family for us, and we motivate each other, we uplift each other, we try to help each other any way that we can. But to answer your question, everybody doubted. Everybody around me, everybody that was close to me, they doubted the vision. There was only a select few individuals who actually believed in it, and those were people who were music heads like I was, or whatever the case was. And it was discouraging to an extent, but like I said, this is something that I really wanted, and I wasn't going to stop until I got what I wanted.
And you spoke on your family doubting the most. What kind of family did you come from? Did they have their own vision for you coming up, or was it kind of they lead you to? Most definitely,
very conservative. I'm Middle Eastern. I'm Persian, Iranian. My father's 80 years old now, so he comes from a different generation. He comes from a different country. He moved here, I think, when he was 35, 36. So this is like a third world to him. He's a doctor, actually, and in my culture, parents try to persuade the children to be something in the corporate world, more like a doctor and a lawyer specifically. But an ideal corporate job would be a perfect world for the family that I come from.
A lot of people probably look, I don't know, a lot of Houstonians, a lot of people may look at us and be like, oh, he's a foreigner, he's probably not even from here. Just a lot of things, that you eating your head, really are you eating your chain? It's just, it comes from your culture.
Yeah, probably looking at me too. You probably think I have an accent, whatever the case is.
Do you speak English?
I know my varsity as well. Yeah.
What's it called?
Varsity. Yeah.
That's cool. The building of BDE, was there anything that you seen yourself doing outside of music, maybe?
Currently or prior to BDE?
Prior to BDE.
Yeah, this was more so like a hobby initially, because it wasn't a sure thing. It was all a risk. Honestly, it was all a risk for the first 3 years. There was a lot of empty investments, and that's why I say it was discouraging when people close to me would say, would doubt the vision, because there was a lot of empty investments, and there was a lot of times where I would ask myself, is this really worth it? Is this something that I'm really supposed to be doing? But I just had faith in the situation. I just kept going.
And that's what I started to say earlier. A lot of people's testimony is, someone like that when it comes to the most successful people. That's just all it takes, regardless, even outside of the music industry, anything that you really want to do, you gotta take that step out on faith. Because I started to ask, do you think there was a reason as to why so many doubted you? I mean, or did you just look at it as oh, they just want the best for me, Well, some people may have just wanted the best for you, or they thought that was the best for you.
No, so when I was 23, I got indicted into a federal case, and I did 6 months in the feds. Mm-hmm. So I started the label right when I got out. I was doing music management prior to going in, and the artist that I was working with was incarcerated at the same time that I was incarcerated. And when I got out, my contract was basically voided, and he signed with a label, and I kind of got fucked over. I lost a lot of money, and then whenever I got out, whenever I was in jail, I told myself I'm going to start a record label. I'm going to get out. I was thinking about the master plan, whatever, and I was in there for as long as I was in there. And I told myself whenever I got out that I was going to start a record label. There would be more insurance on my investment, essentially, and there was less of an opportunity for something like that to happen to me again. So I was dealing with that whenever I started the label, and I guess that's why you could say a lot of people doubted the vision is because I got out of jail. I said I wanted to start a record label. Who the hell says that? You know, people get out of jail and they work a job, they want to get their life together, or they go back to jail and they keep fucking up. You know,
right.
so
that was your plan.
Yeah,
so,
I had a lot of time to think about it. That's
right.
for sure. Yeah.
What did you go to jail for?
It was a long story. Just
Oh,
Google my name.
Okay.
It was like a conspiracy to attempt to deliver an unlawful use of a communication device. There was like 40-something people on my case. I was at the bottom of the barrel.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you say while you was in jail, you was working with an artist that basically you got fucked over on. Who was the artist you was working with?
His name's Harold Lulia. He's from Houston. He's from Fifth Ward. He's still around. I'm not sure if I haven't seen him drop music in quite a while, so I'm not sure if he's making music still. But you know, he's a good dude. We squashed what we had going on. We got an understanding with each other. We were actually going to work with each other a few years later. Whenever we rekindled the relationship, you could say. But a little time after we rekindled the relationship, he got into an accident, and he was in and out of the hospital, and he needed to get himself right before I was able to work with him. So you know, we still, I haven't talked to him in a while, but we still have a relationship to this day. You know, like I said, he's a good dude. I wish the best for him. I pray that he's healthy, and like I said, I wish the best for him.
Okay, so you said when you got out of jail, you started a label. That in jail, that was always your plan. So I want you to kind of walk us through it. Like, you get out of jail, do you come up with the name first, or do you have it in your mind, like the artist that you're gonna sign? Like, what's the thought process?
Yeah. So I had like a list of artists that I was interested in. That I had either met them or I had been accumulated with them, accommodated with them through Instagram. But YB, DeeBaby were two of the artists that I initially signed. That I initially offered my contracts to. YB was in a situation that prevented him from signing my deal, but there was two other artists, DeeBondo and Harold. Was going to be DeeBaby, DeeBondo, Harold Lulia, and YB Puerto Rico. I wanted to start my label with 4 prominent individuals that already had some type of regional success, some type of buzz in the city, because my blueprint wasn't implemented for an artist that's trying to build from the ground up. It was more so implemented for an artist that already has motion. But saying all that to say, DeeBaby was part of the plan initially. YB was part of the plan initially. I met Flowers maybe about 4 months later, and around that time, Harold had got into the accident, and DeeBondo had something that prevented him from signing completely, but we had worked something out for a few months, and then he got COVID. I can't remember. I think he got COVID or something. He ended up passing away. Rest in peace, DeeBondo. He was a very good dude. He was a very talented individual. I was looking for more so like an executive production role from him to help YB, Harold, and DeeBaby. But then everything I had all 4 of those artists who went to LA. I wanted them to get accommodated with each other and kind of get comfortable with each other before, because I had been talking to them all individually, and I had told them this is what I want to do. And we had been going, negotiating for 3-4 months, and all 4 of those artists were in agreement to what was going on. And then we ended up going to LA. All 4 of us were in LA. All 5 of us, you could say. And then we were getting a lot of work done, shooting videos from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the morning, basically the same way we work right now. I try to start that. I try to bring that energy from day one. And we got back from from LA, and that's when Harold all that stuff happened with Harold, and then stuff happened with DeeBondo. And then I actually met D Flowers a few months later, like I said, and bought feature from him was for DeeBaby. At this time, I had been working with DeeBaby. Was the only one who took my contract. He's the only one who initially signed my contract. I didn't work with YB for about 2 years after I signed. After I offered him the initial deal, and then I basically just went with DeeBaby for about 2 years, and we were perfect experimental tools for each other. You could say we were able to learn a lot from each other. It wasn't something I wanted to build. I wanted to start with 4 artists that already had a buzz. It didn't work out how I wanted it to start out, but everything happens for a reason. DeeBaby was the first and only artist that I had signed to my label for about 2 years. We kicked it off on a good foot, on great terms. Everything panned out smoothly.
And so coming out of jail and knowing these artists that you do have, lined up to sign or work with and everything, are there any like key values, morals, characteristic traits, anything that you knew that you wanted out of these artists prior to meeting them?
Well, just in general, not before meeting these artists, but just in general, what I look for in an artist is consistency. That's the first thing. Talent would be the second thing. And good music, obviously. I guess that falls within talent. So consistency, most definitely, is number one. If you're not trying to help yourself, there's only so much that a record label can do for you in general. Not me, but just generally speaking, there's only so much that a record label can do for you if you're not trying to help yourself. If you're not dropping consistent, this is what you do. You're a rapper, you're an artist. If you're not dropping consistently, then the only person you're hurting is yourself. Good music. I feel like you can be consistent, you can have very up to par music, but you'll still have respect in the industry and from the audience because of your passion and your work ethic. I feel like good music is the cherry on top, like the icing on the cake. It just makes everybody else's job easier, and it makes it marketable. It like I said, just makes everything easier.
How did you discover DeeBaby?
So DeeBaby came up on my Explorer page, or somebody reposted him. I don't remember. I don't think the Explorer page was even out then. It was before Instagram had the Explorer page, I think. It was somebody had posted his music or something, and I had reached out to him. I followed him. I followed him on Instagram. I was working with the first artist that I was working with, and I wasn't really ready to work with any other artist at the time because I was still trying to get familiar with the industry, you could say. So I basically just reached out to him. I followed him just to try to establish a relationship. And then maybe about 7 or 8 months later, I reached out to him and I was like, I told him to keep working. I told him that he makes really good music, and this is music that I could hear on a national platform. And I told him to just stay consistent, and just keep his head up, and that everything will pan out the way that it's panned out so far. So I reached out to him on Instagram. Maybe about 4 months, 5 months after I had the last communication with him. It was maybe at this point it was like I was familiar with DeeBaby for about a year and a half, and actually his rap name, his stage name at the time was Coke Boy D. And I went. My barber had moved to a new barber shop, and I went to go get my beard trimmed. And as I'm getting my beard trimmed, I hear a song that I know I heard snippets to on Instagram. And I look up at the screen, and it's DeeBaby. And I asked the owner of the store, I was like, there's nothing but Hispanics who work at the store. So I'm like, they must know this guy. I'm just ideally speaking, I'm thinking they must know this guy. So I asked the owner of the barbershop, do y'all know DeeBaby? Do y'all know Coke Boy D at the time? And they were like, yeah, that's my family. So I was like, damn, it's a small world. So maybe like the same day probably reached out to him and told him, hey bro, I met your family today. And then I think we started messaging on Instagram, and he was like, hey bro, let's talk about this music business that you make sound so appealing. So I told him to come to the barbershop the next time I got my beard trimmed the next week. We met at the barbershop. We talked for about a couple hours, and then that's when I told him that I'm in the process of trying to start a record label. I don't work with artists that I was previously working with, so I'm currently not working with any artists, but I'm trying to sign for artists, and you're one of them that I'm trying to sign. Would you be interested in working? I think he took maybe about a week, and then I sent him the contract, and the rest is history.
That's crazy. That's really crazy.
And along the process, I want to ask, like, what are some of the steps that you took to, like, basically breaking DeeBaby to the world? I basically just, this whole industry is trial and error. You have to try out a bunch of shit and figure out what works and what doesn't work. Saying that to say, I would watch how independent artists on a scale of, in particular, D Flowers and OTB Fastlane. It was at the time where D Flowers was dropping very consistently. He was on World Star on every video. He was one of the only artists from Houston who was getting on World Star. At the time, World Star was a very, very big platform. And I always thought that at the time, World Star should always be on an artist's agenda. Like it should always be part of the plan within some point of their career to be on World Star for a consistent period of time to help expand your audience. Because at the time, it was obviously like there wasn't too many YouTube pages that you could upload to. And I think it was very expensive, so it was very hard to get on World Star. You had to have a good relationship with them where you had to pay like $8,000 a video. So I'm like, okay, he's investing into his career. So I just kind of watched D Flowers drops, and I would kind of like dissect them, and I would look at OTB Fastlane's drops, and I would dissect them. And I don't know if they did this on purpose, but I would always see them drop songs on YouTube before they would drop songs on like the digital streaming platforms that you can actually go stream on Apple Music and YouTube. And I'm like, Apple Music and Spotify or whatever the case is. I was like, maybe they're doing it to up the views on the video. So I took it as like a part of my blueprint, and I would wait about 2 weeks to drop the audio on platforms until I figured out I was losing money. So I don't do that anymore. But saying all that to say, D Flowers, OTB Fastlane, and then there was like independent artists like Money Man, Young Dolph that I would kind of like just watch how they release, watch how they roll out, and I would take these marketing schemes from the rollout, and I would kind of just put my own marketing scheme together, and we just tried out a bunch of different stuff, and figured out what works for us, and we put more money in those avenues. You have to have a lot of money to spend in this music industry to succeed. It's very, very hard to do if you don't have funds. If you do not have a lot of money, it's very, very, very unlikely that you will succeed in this industry.
After DeeBaby, who was the next person in line? Like, who was the next artist that?
Flowers, D Flowers.
How did y'all meet? How did they?
I ran into, so I was living at these apartment complexes in 2014, and it was in the Central Houston area. You run into people all the time over there. I was parking my car in valet, and I saw D Flowers. As I'm pulling up, I saw D Flowers standing in valet, and I had been trying to get in contact with D Flowers because at that time I had been working with DeeBaby for I think like 4 or 5 months. And I always thought D Flowers and DeeBaby would complement each other very well. And like I said, I would try to follow his resume and try to mimic it in a sense. So he's to this day is very inspiring to me. So I walked up to him. I was kind of intimidated. As I'm walking up to him, he's a very, very big dude, very deep voice. He's like, Debo. I always tell him, he's like, Debo, you're always trying to scare people, bro. You're friendly. You're a friendly guy. Just be friendly. So I walked up to D Flowers, I asked him if he could do a feature with my artist. I told him I'm trying to pay him for a feature. Asked him if he can come back the next day. I wanted to meet my artist, DeeBaby. Could you come the next day? He came the next day. DeeBaby got to my house before Flowers got to my house, and DeeBaby didn't have any jewelry at this time, and I had this pendant that said Sina. I had 2 of these, and DeeBaby, it was like the first bigger artist we were meeting in Houston. We weren't too familiar with any, like we knew the artists, but we didn't know them. Like we were familiar with who they were, but we didn't personally know them. So we were both trying to get our feet in the door, obviously. DeeBaby was like, let me wear one of your chains, bro, so it help us look good. And I was like, all right, let's do it. D-Flowers came, we paid him for a feature. I think that night they did the song. Maybe about 3 weeks later, I was telling D-Flowers about the vision that I have for the Be Someone, the Houston projects that we did. And as I was telling him what I wanted to do, I was like, bro, we need to get this guy on a song with this guy. As I'm explaining the vision to him, as I'm pitching the vision to him, he's literally saying, like taking words out of my mouth. I was actually gonna do it with Drew James and DJ XL. They're bigger producers out of Houston. They got a bunch of flags, good dudes. I was in the process of doing it with them. Like earlier that week, I had just talked to them, and we were going to set up studio sessions that weekend and start working. But I ran into D-Flowers, and as I'm telling him my vision, he's taking the words out of my mouth, and I'm like, I already thought D-Flowers would compliment DeeBaby so well, and DeeBaby would compliment D-Flowers so well. And I couldn't make the Houston project just one artist. Like, I couldn't just say it was DeeBaby's project, because at the time he had no fan base. So it wouldn't make sense. It would just be like a DeeBaby project featuring a bunch of Houston artists. It wouldn't actually be a Houston project. I was like, I can't drop it. I'm not an artist. I don't want to drop it under the label name. It has to be under DeeBaby's name and somebody else's name. That's why I was going to do it with the other 2 producers, because they are very well known, and it made sense to do it with them. But like I said, D-Flowers was taking the words out of my mouth. I ended up paying him $50,000 to help me put the first Be Someone together, and that's not having to pay the artist for features. That was just D-Flowers coming in and getting me acquainted with the individuals, because he's, at the end of the day, he's the one that helped me establish a relationship with all these artists. They wouldn't have been familiar with DeeBaby or Sina if it wasn't for D-Flowers, because D-Flowers would come in and he would kind of be my stiff arm. A lot of people would initially try to look at me as a lick, you could say, and they would try to get money out of the situation, because they knew I had money, and that's all they saw is dollar signs. They didn't see the vision. They were ignoring the vision, and they saw dollar signs. I respect Flowers so much because he embraced the vision from day one, and he really believed in it. He really wanted to be a part of it as well. D-Flowers was on a much higher scale than DeeBaby was at the time. I think DeeBaby had maybe like 6,000 or 7,000 followers on Instagram, and Flowers probably had like 50,000 followers on Instagram. And Flowers at the time was a newer artist, and he had a lot of buzz in the city. So to his credit, I have a lot of respect for him, because he didn't have to do that, but he saw the bigger picture. And that's how it came about. I spent money with him on the Be Someone project. He introduced me to a lot of good people. I didn't sign him for probably 18 months after I paid him $50,000 for the Be Someone. We were negotiating. He was actually in a situation. He got in the situation within the first 6 months of us negotiating, but it still took us another year after that to negotiate. He's a very, very, very good dude. I have a lot of respect for him. He helped me a lot. If I wouldn't be who I was, not just in the music industry, but I wouldn't be he's helped me grow so much as a person, because there's only so many artists that actually make sense when they speak, but when he speaks, he speaks a lot of volume. He speaks at a very high volume, and he makes a lot of sense when he talks. And he's a good person on top of that, so it's very genuine advice. And I could see like he would always want the best for the people around him. He wants the best for himself, and he like I said, he believed in the vision from day one. And I can't explain how much respect I have for him and how much I appreciate everything that he brings to the table. So.
And you said you basically gave him $50,000 to help you with the project, with the BC1 project. How much in total do you feel like you put into that project?
I put my all into the project. I don't know what do you mean by
like
that?
Total, as in like you said you gave him $50,000. Yeah, money wise.
Okay.
Roughly, it's not.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The first be somewhere I spent way because nobody knew me. Like I said, everybody looked at me like they didn't know that it would be what it is to this day. They thought I was just one of these guys who was going to come spend money and then they would never see me again. You know. So I had to spend a lot of money on that first project. It's crazy because I got Sauce Walker, Zero, Slim Thug, all the people who actually charge good money for features were on the second project. But I spent more money on the first project. I probably spent like $160 on the whole project, on the first Houston project. But a lot of that was to build my brand in a sense. It wasn't necessarily like, well, I paid everybody's prices. I would want people to pay my prices whenever I got to that level, right? You know, as I grow, I want people to pay my price, so I understand where they're coming from, and that's why I did what I did to establish the relationship, because I knew somewhere along the lines that would not just benefit me, but it would benefit everyone around me, and it would benefit them as well, and that they would buy into the vision once I spent money with them, essentially.
You say like a lot of people may have looked at you as a lick, but do you feel like, was there some artists that more so gained a level of respect for you from seeing like you giving them exactly what they're asking for, you not trying to talk them down to a lower price? Was there any artist that gained respect for you after that?
I think that's why me and D Flowers, we got off on the right foot, is because he would always tell me that I got a vision, but I also put my money where my mouth is. So saying that to say, I mean everybody, all of them. That's why I didn't have to pay anything for the second project. By that time came around, everybody believed in the vision. But saying that, yeah, everybody.
And the reason why I asked you how much money did you put in, because most people would look at it and see like and think, oh, it came overnight or everything was free. But because in Houston, a lot of people feel like we never come together, or there's nobody in Houston that's trying to help the upcoming artists or different artists get further in their career. So I basically just wanted you just to speak on that, like what you was doing, so people can not only see but know like what exactly went into it.
You talking about like the process,
like the process of just putting everything together, like finding different artists. Like for example, like you had some
from
like GGL Crazy to Willow,
Okay. A lot of a vision. First of all, I knew what I wanted in the end, but I didn't know how to get. Like I was still trying to figure it out. I didn't know anything. I was basically I was trying to get my feet wet in the industry. I had no knowledge of any type of deals. I didn't know the difference between a production deal and a label deal, like a 360 deal. I didn't know the difference between anything. I just heard these terms, and this terminology was all like it was different. So a lot of determination, not giving up, but most importantly, a lot of money goes into it. You have to have, like I said earlier, you have to have a lot of money to succeed in this industry. A vision and money is probably the two most important things, because you can have money and you can just keep going with the flow and you'll burn out. That's what I think. That's why a lot of people respect the movement the way that they do, is because we're still going. I think there's a lot of brands, labels that they fall out, they fall off after a certain amount of time because they run out of money. You hear about these new labels with these prominent artists, and then you don't hear of them a year later. Structure. I think structure is probably the third most important thing. Accountability, like making sure that you have a team and making sure that everybody's on the same page, like everybody has the same mindset, everybody has the same end goal. It's not gonna work if one individual has, different expectations than the next individual. Everybody's gotta be able to stand next to each other. So there was a lot of work that was put in. A lot of these artists, they weren't really acquainted with each other in a sense either. They knew of each other. They probably all met each other just a few times before we started doing the Be Someone project. So, it helped everybody kind of like buy into the bigger picture of there's a lot of talent in Houston, and Houston has the potential to be the hub of the hip hop industry. But, it takes a lot. It takes a lot. It's not easy. You gotta, I'm trying to figure out how to say it, you gotta be able to move with it's chess, not checkers. You gotta. That's why I say structure too, is because you have to have a blueprint. Like if there's no blueprint to abide by, and you're just doing shit just to do shit, then it's only gonna go so far for you.
Is there anything you would have done differently building, like in the making of the label?
I learned a lot throughout the process. I honestly wouldn't ask for anything. It's beautiful. Everything about this is beautiful. Like the process of where we were a year ago to where we are now, to where everything is becoming reality, and it's within reach. So I don't think we would have appreciated it if we didn't go through what we went through. We wouldn't have cherished it and valued it the way that we do now and the way that we will when we get what we get. So,
In the building stages with your artists and everything, you got a co-star. Well, DeeBaby got a co-star from Kevin Gates. Did that kind of like give you that, yes, we are breaking through the door? You get what I'm saying? Like, what
Let
did
me
you
tell you,
take?
a sense of reassurance.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's crazy. Everything that's going on, because everybody always, obviously, before DeeBaby found his own sound, everybody would say he sounds like Kevin Gates. He still has a resemblance to Kevin Gates, but I think he has his own sound now to where he sounds like DeeBaby. But at a point in time, people were saying that he sounds like Kevin Gates, Moneybagg Yo, Money Man. So all three of them have individually, personally reached out to DeeBaby, and they want to work with DeeBaby. So to see all of this, to see everything fall in line, it's definitely a blessing. But at the end of the day, it was expected to. It was something that we all, that we prayed. Like it was something that we had our eyes on. It was something that was always a part of the plan. Whenever we cross paths, we have to pay them for a feature. That was always in my mind. I know the artists don't want to have to pay them, but I always think from a business perspective, if that would make a lot of sense for us. So, whenever that happened, it was, I was shocked, but this is stuff that's supposed to happen. So I'm starting to get a little bit more used to it.
Would you say Kevin Gates was the first big name artist that reached out to or showed his support to y'all?
Outside of Houston,
yeah, outside of Houston.
Yeah, I think so. I believe so.
And as of recently, or just when?
Well, that I'm familiar with. I know DeeBaby had a lot of people that reaches out. Like I know Money Man has been there for a long time. I know No Cap has been there for a long time. But I know Kevin Gates Kevin Gates was a few years ago initially, and then I guess when DeeBaby started having the success that he started having, he kind of gravitated back around towards DeeBaby, and then approached DeeBaby, and now they actually have a song together that it'll probably drop. It definitely dropped before the summertime. but they do have a song together. Money Man was definitely one of the artists that reached out at first. No cap, like I said, but there was a few artists that DeeBaby just I was unaware about.
That's gonna be better.
Yeah.
I already know it.
Yeah.
Do you have like a word of advice to someone wanting to be in your place, or like someone wanting to own their own label?
Yeah. Just stay focused. Stay determined. Don't give up. You're gonna get discouraged. There's gonna be a lot of money. There's gonna be a lot of empty-hand investments. Like I've been saying, there's gonna be a lot of money spent before you see money. But it'll just dream big. Have a vision and just have faith in yourself, and that make sure that the people around you are on the same time that you're on. Make sure the people around you have the same vision that you have, and just dream big, have a vision, stay focused.
What was the process of composing the album Junkie Mode?
So I've been working with DeeBaby for 3.5 years now. The first 2 years that I worked with DeeBaby, he walked a straight line. He didn't sip anything, he didn't pop anything, he didn't smoke weed. And then maybe like a year ago, he came up with this idea that he was Junkie Mode. That was the title of the project. He started sipping. He had lost a family member, and he had started sipping drink. And he started getting in the studio every night. He would get in the studio every night. There was never really like a time where we were in album mode. DeeBaby's been in album mode for the past 3 years. The majority of the songs were composed within the past 9 months, 6 to 9 months. But that's a question that y'all would have to ask him, honestly. I'm just on the business perspective. I can only answer that question from my aspect. So, there's a lot that went into composing the project. There's a lot of time, he sacrificed a lot. He sacrificed everything, literally, like the girls. And I started working with DeeBaby when he had 5 songs. I've seen his growth from the ground up. And he didn't have what he has now. Like females, I know females that like his music, but he didn't have too many females looking this way. He didn't have too many people looking this way in general. But saying all that to say, he kind of, from the music perspective, I'm saying that he didn't have a female audience. He didn't really have an audience whatsoever at that point in time. So saying that to say, he's been in Junkie Mode for a year now. It's been about a year. His next project, he's saying he wants to title it something along the lines of rehab or refocus or something. I think he said refocus. I know that's a name that he's brought up a few times. But a lot of he like I said, he sacrificed a lot. I said all that to say that he sacrificed everything that came his way, everything that was new, everything that you could possibly think of that comes with this lifestyle, from a rapper's perspective who has motion, from a rapper's perspective who is in a position that not a lot of Houston artists have been in a long time. And I'm not just saying this because I work with DeeBaby, but the success that DeeBaby's having is it's worldwide, nationwide, you could say right now. And he's got his foot on the gas. He's always been a hard worker. But for some reason, when he got in Junkie Mode, he was having 20-hour studio sessions. He would stay up for 40 hours straight, and he would sleep for maybe 20 hours. because his body would be so tired and he would give up. And he still does that to this day. He's a very, very, very hard worker. He's still like, Junkie Mode, I think, also had a perception of like, of I'm just not gonna give a fuck and I'm gonna grind, like I'm gonna work. I'm a junkie, like I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I'm gonna put in a lot of work. I'm gonna put this shit in your face and y'all are gonna watch me succeed. Like I think that's just kind of like the mentality that he had. But that would have to be a question that y'all ask him, honestly. That's from being a person that's close to DeeBaby and being somebody that's around him on a daily basis. That's what I can tell you. But like I said, that's just from an executive perspective.
The album is like 48 hours now. It's already top 10 on Apple Music.
Mm-hmm.
Is that exceeding your expectations? Like, is that exceeding the label and you as a...
No. Honestly, the label asked us, they said it was 15, last week they called us, they said $15,000 to get the album top 10. And we said, I was surprised they asked me, honestly, because it was already like before it dropped with pre-orders, it was 120 or something. And it was growing on a daily basis. And I know this week, DeeBaby's always had a machine behind them, but now that we're in a system, we signed a distribution deal with Create. Now that we're in a system, and he's in the position that he's in right now, it's just gonna get bigger and bigger. There's only person that can get in DeeBaby's way right now is DeeBaby. He's all, and there's nothing else. Nothing can happen to devalue DeeBaby's success.
So speaking of other people that may have their eyes on DeeBaby, we see Kodak Black checking in more than once. He's steady going live.
Tapping in.
He went live like twice, and like maybe played the song 100 times.
Yeah, it's crazy. He like people keep sending it to me. Saying you received Kodak Black's live video. Somebody shared Kodak Black's live video. DeeBaby I didn't even think about it until Kodak's on live playing the song. But he was playing songs from the first 10 songs we dropped with DeeBaby. I think it was like the 5th song or 6th song we dropped with DeeBaby like 3.5 years ago. So, and he said something in the song about Kodak Black, and I was like, damn, I never thought Kodak would hear that song.
Full circle moment.
Yeah, it was live. It was live for sure. And he listened to it it was like 5 days straight. People kept sending it to me multiple times a day, and he would replay it like 2 or 3 times that I actually did log in time to see it. He was running it back 3-4 times. He would, like I said, he played one of DeeBaby songs from a long time ago. That's crazy.
So has he reached out personally, to DeeBaby just yet?
Yeah, he has. I know he's reached out to DeeBaby for sure. They were on FaceTime. I think the first day that y'all had, the blogs had posted it, he was on FaceTime with Kodak before he got on live and played the song.
And I know now with the success the label is having, I'm sure like your DMs is filled with a different artist saying, hey bro, sign me, hey bro, I'm the next biggest thing, hey bro, all you gotta do is believe in me. Yeah. If an artist wanted to get your attention, could you please tell them the best way?
That's not the best way. What you just said, that's the worst way, I promise you. Like you telling me you're the hardest rapper in the world, you telling me when you have 200, 300 followers, like please save your time, just put in the work. The only reason why I gravitated towards the artists that I gravitated towards is because even DeeBaby, he didn't have the fan base that he has, but like his work ethic is what it is today. He kept dropping videos. He kept from day one, even before I started working with him. Like I said, like all these artists created something for themselves. They all created their own movement. They all established themselves within their regions. They all put work in. That's the only thing that's going to get you noticed is dropping music and staying consistent, and then perfecting your craft to the point that you can make good music on a consistent basis. There's nothing or no song that anybody can send me, or matter of fact, you can't send anybody anything. Like, no record label or any executive is just going to sign you based off of the song that you show them. Like, you have to help yourself before anybody can help you. So, to answer your question, just stay consistent, put in work, have faith in yourself, have confidence in yourself, and keep building your brand, keep growing, keep developing. It'll pan out. Somebody like me or me will look at you one day and you will have an opportunity. But until then, if this is what you want to do, you're a rapper, you say you're a rapper on a daily basis, then be a rapper on a daily basis.
I feel like that ties into what you were saying earlier, as far as like, even you were figuring things out as you went, you know, and there was a lot of stuff that you learned in the process of doing what you do. But as long as you stick to that plan, everything should play out, you know, it's phase, you know.
You gotta stay down.
Right, okay,
Until
it makes sense. And that's just the key of it all. Anything you want to do in life.
Thanks.
I want to go into a segment we ask on Instagram for people to send in questions they want to ask. I want to ask a few of them.
Okay.
First things first. How is life for Sina?
Yes, I'm a
You know, I'm in the best position that I've ever been in, but I'm not content. Like, from the outside looking in, it looks glorious. I know it looks really good, and everything is really good. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not satisfied. I have very big aspirations for me and the individuals that I work with and the individuals that I'm about to be working with. We have what it takes to be the best in the country. We have what it takes to be some of the best in the world. And collectively, I feel like we can go further together as opposed to individually. So my goal is to, you know, bring the most prominent artists in the city together so we can create like a national platform wave as opposed to just having regional success. I feel like the expectations are high, and I feel like we will exceed expectations, we will surpass expectations, and that this is just the very beginning, and there's a long way to go. So to answer your question, I'm content. I am content, but I'm not content because I want better for me and myself and the people around me.
Okay. Does the art of music matter, or is it all of whatever sells?
Me personally, like every artist that I work with, I personally enjoy listening to their music. I think both of them, honestly, to answer your questions, both of them. But me personally, yeah, there has to be something to work with.
You labeled, you named your label BDE, Black Diamond Entertainment, right? What was the reasoning behind it? What made you want to name your label Black Diamond Entertainment?
So, at like a ski resort, Black Diamond is the highest level. Black Diamond signifies the most advanced, the most skilled level, and it signifies unconditional love and success for eternity. That's if you look it up, it says it represents all of that. It signifies all of that.
How will BDE separate itself from the past and present labels in the city? Like, for example, rapper like, what's interesting?
SUC 1501 TSF.
But how will BDE separate itself from those labels? So a lot of people will say they don't produce artists, you know, like the actual talent of it, or they flop, things of the sort. But how does BDE coming on the scene and making and changing the way of Houston music?
with all due respect, like everybody you just named, to this day they have success. So I don't want to take anything away from them, but what I feel like separates, what will separate us is our work ethic, our talent, the work ethic, and consistently, most importantly. That's what we pride on. We work really hard. And we have a vision. Everybody's got the same vision, so. Yeah.
And the last two from Instagram. Who was the GOAT when it comes to owning a record label? As like maybe Master P, Birdman, Jay Prince.
Bro, I was at the Rockets game literally last week, and I got courtside seats. I'm with my girl. QC, to answer the question before I go into the P and Coach K. Basically, I go to the Rockets game. I'm going to my seats. I sit down in my seats. Kiati comes next to me. After I was there for like 5 minutes, Kiati's the DJ. He's always on the microphone at the Rockets game. I don't know what you call it, but he's at the every Rockets game. He walked up to me, shook my hand, and as he's shaking my hand, I'm looking next to me, and it's my girl, and then another person that I don't know, a female that I don't know, and then a guy. I look over and I'm like, holy shit, my head, I'm like, holy shit, that's Coach K. This is like my idol. Like this is enough. Like Jay Prince, obviously, I said earlier, like that's why I started it. But when I started like looking into the business aspect of the industry, like this is somebody that I idolize. So like I never really thought I'd run into him unless it was like a scheduled acquaintance, like where we were supposed to go to a studio session with them, or whatever the case is, at a show or whatever the case is. I didn't expect to like run into him in person like that in a public setting. So he's sitting next to me at the Rockets game. I didn't say a word to him the whole Rockets game. Like I'm trying to think what I said. I didn't say anything. But I was like, one day I'll cross paths with him. And he'll remember me. I feel like I let my presence be known. So I feel like we'll cross paths later on. I wanted to tell him, like everybody tells me I'm the Houston Coach K, but I don't want to sound corny. I was like, we'll just let it all play out.
Right, because a lot of things tend to work out in your favor.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if you see that.
Was Rocky game here?
Yeah, in Houston. Yeah.
If you could have any mainstream artist, dead or alive, on your label, who would it be and why?
Yeah, that's a good question. Travis Scott, bro. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Travis Scott, because I would say Kanye, but because I want like an executive producer, somebody who can like bring multiple things to the table, But I said Travis Scott because it's more like new wave. So I feel like the ear more so for the next generations would be more beneficial, I feel like.
Yeah, and he's from Houston.
Yeah. Who would you say?
I think everybody already know who would I sign. I'll say NBA Youngboy.
All right, so about a week or two ago, you dropped your BDE Sina development program packages. You have a 5K package, a 10K package, 15K package, and a 20K package. How did you develop this program and get your pull list and everything, considering majority of artists and producers aren't technically under BDE?
So basically, it was just the people that I had established relationships with throughout the years that I just figured a lot of people probably can't get in contact with. So I just came up, a lot of artists ask me to work. They're always DMing me, and they ask what I can do to help out. And I want to help as many people as I possibly can help out, but there's just only so much I can do by myself. So saying that to say, the people that I want to work with are people, there's there's a handful of individuals that after I sign these individuals, there's 2 more individuals and that's it that I would sign. And these are people that I built relationships with throughout the years. So saying that to say, I just figured that I want to be able to help in some type of way. So I was like, let me utilize the relationships that I have. Let me utilize, the vision that I have and the resources that I have, the marketing tools that I have. A lot of these artists, they just release music. They don't really promote their content the way it's supposed to be promoted, or they don't put the money in the right places that the money's supposed to go. And there's a lot of empty-handed investments. I feel like I figured out a method on how to get a return, a guaranteed return on your investment. So I just feel like that I could help people out that way, but I only have so much time. So, and if I'm not working on what I'm supposed to be working on, I'm losing money. So I have to charge, as much as I don't want to charge, like I have, and this stuff costs, like the for example, the 5K package, it comes with a feature from a prominent individual or 2 features from 2 other prominent individuals. It comes with a beat that we would make from scratch with, these producers that have platinum plaques, or a producer that we work with on a daily basis, that might not be as prominent and that is an affordable price. There's artists that charge $500 a feature on the list, so obviously the more money you spend, I made a 20K package because you have to spend money in this industry, like I keep on saying. So that would be the biggest opportunity to maximize that I have to offer currently, because there's only so much that I can offer. That would be the biggest way to maximize on your investment is through the 20K package that I offer, and that would consist of a lot of my time. That would consist of a lot of the relationships that I've developed, that I'm willing to share with y'all. That comes with. It's a lot of resources, the marketing tools, the YouTube ads, the blog posts, the directors, the videos, the whole, there's a process. It takes a lot of time, there's a process. So saying all that to say, it's very beneficial for the artist. So I feel like that's the biggest way that I'm able to help people that ask me to sign them and people that ask me to work with them. That's the biggest opportunity that I have. That's the most time that I'm capable of being able to put towards something. But like I said, if I'm not working, I'm losing money. So it's going to cost money for my time. So that you have to. There's a lot of different spectrums you can look at it from. But if you're trying to excel your career, then I suggest look at the post.
Have you got any criticism from that list? People saying maybe you're doing too much, you're not doing enough.
No. People are saying that it's a really good deal for people that have inquired about it, people that have purchased it. So I honestly haven't had it. I haven't seen it. No.
What's next for Sina himself, and what's next for BDE, the label?
So D Flowers and DeeBaby's projects are out now. Naturally, D Flowers' debut project is out now. DeeBaby, it's his second project that he's released, his second solo project. We've obviously done the Be Someone compilations. I'm in the process of composing, and I'm putting together the Be Someone Texas population. And it's going to have about 15 artists on there. It's going to be the more prominent artists in the state of Texas that are relevant and that are actually that make money in the music industry, that their analytics and statistics add up and are up to par with they're going to be on the song with, you know. So it's people who have done their due diligence in the industry, that are from Texas, that are, you know, in the same realm as DeeBaby and D-Flowers and the other artists that I work with, YB Puerto Rico, Young Al. So Young Al should be dropping a project. We're in the process of, we haven't finalized we're still in the process of finalizing the contract. We're waiting for terms to be finalized, and you know, once we get him fully into the system, he should have a project out within the first 60 days of him being incorporated into the system, which hopefully we can get done, you know, hopefully by May or so. Other than that, you know, we're just gonna keep going. We got a lot more work to do. DeeBaby, they're always in album mode. There's never a time where the artists that I work with are not in album mode. They're recording songs every day, all day. They're shooting multiple videos a week. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So saying that to say we're gonna keep going. I've gotten a few label offers for joint ventures that I've declined. I feel like the artists that I work with and the artists that I'm in the process of working with are, like I said earlier, they're some of the best in the industry. And I feel like they just don't have the exposure on a national platform that they should have. But these artists are big household names in Houston specifically, Texas as well. But I'm trying to help them get to the next level and have worldwide success one day, you know. So saying all that to say, we don't stop working. We're year round, every day, 24/7. Literally, there's not a time where there can't be one hour out of the day where one of the artists aren't working, because you know they have different schedules. Some of them are up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then some of them are getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning and starting to do work. Some of them are going to sleep at 8 o'clock in the morning. So there's not an hour or a minute out of the day where not one of the artists that I'm working with are actually putting in work. So saying that to say is we're just going to keep going until we get what we want to get.
Any last words? Any last shout outs or anything you want to say?
YB Puerto Rico, Young Al, D-Flowers, DeeBaby. I really want to say the other ones that I'm about to lock in with.
Come on, man, go and give straight on production. Let's move.
Nah, I can't do it. I want to. Hopefully by the next time we get in the interview, that it will for sure be done. But hopefully by the next time, our artists have prominent artists signed to them, because that's going back to the last question. That's part of the resume as well, is to incorporate the artist development campaign within my artists and helping them sign artists to their brand and developing those artists and to the point where it's like Diamond is the umbrella over multiple umbrellas, because everybody's gonna have multiple branches and artists that they're working with. But that's a production label as well. I'm in the process of, there's a producer that who's also an artist, he's one of the ones that I'm talking about, and he's gonna be a big help to what we're trying to do. So we got very 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 high expectations for ourselves that we set for a reason, but they're within reach, and it's just a matter of time before we get to where we're going to. But yeah, YB Puerto Rico, DeeBaby, D-Flowers, the artists that I work with, there's my girl, my father, and I said earlier that my family didn't believe in it. After maybe 3-4 years into it, it's not like they don't believe in it anymore. They obviously believe in it. They're obviously very happy for me, and they support and they help out. So saying that to say, I appreciate everybody, and they know who they are. I appreciate the individuals I appreciate where I'm at. I appreciate everything, the opportunities that I have, and I'm grateful to be in the position that I'm in. I appreciate it.
Thank you, bro.